Actually, there was a comment on Facebook that said anyone that says a tuner can blow up a turbo is an idiot.
Oh, we can blow them up.
Yeah, we can.
The holder of the world record in Pro Street, the KC Turbo crew from Mesa, Arizona.
Welcome to the KC Turbos podcast show. We're here with Mitch and Giovanni. Mitch with AMDP and Giovanni with Extreme Caliber. They are from Canada. They came all the way down to Arizona and stopped by to check in and hang out. We had a 11, a 13, a 15, a 17, and a 2020. And we spent the whole week towing trailers, looking at the data. You guys are a lot different. If people don't know who these guys are, they're famous in Canada for their great tunes, becoming very popular. They may not be the biggest, but I'll say you guys are talked about a lot because you guys like the data. You look at the data as opposed to other people. I'll be honest, I've worked with a lot of tuners at KC Turbos. We work with people all across the world. And I'm also often surprised that I'll get someone that has a turbo and they have a problem, and they reach out to the tuner, and the tuner's like, oh yeah, try this revision. No data logs, no questions, just try a revision. After 3 or 4 revisions, they say there's something wrong with your truck, and then they're done. They don't talk to them. You guys are one of the very few people that I've seen, A, ask for data logs, and B, actually know what data logs are. Do you think there's actually tuners out there that just, like, how are they tuning if they don't look at data logs?
I think they're kind of going off of past experience, which sometimes can help, but at the end of the day, every truck is slightly different, so you do need a data log to see what that truck's doing, what that turbo is doing, what potentially the fuel system's doing. Without the data, you're kind of shooting in the wind.
Right. I mean, I've sent data logs to tuners before, like on a 6.7, and boost is 6 PSI, EVP 6 PSI, and vanes open to like 15%. And they're like, yeah, it's a turbo problem. It's like, anyone that looked at that data would say, no, you need a little bit more vane to bump up the EVP, to bump up the boost. And I'm talking to these guys, they're like deer in the headlights. Well, what do you mean that's what the data log says? I mean, they literally almost get offended sometimes. But you guys, when you were here, I was so surprised, especially you. What's your background? What makes you like data logs and data so much?
I've always been in the high performance world. I mean, started out building engines when we were talking about, I was 13 years old. And, through time, obviously, the actual function of performance engines especially has always intrigued me, not exactly like the vehicles themselves. So, getting into the diesel world, around 2017, right? And always having, like, diesel's a work background, so understanding how VGT operates and everything. And basically, working with AMDP when we got your turbo a bunch of years back, and that's where we really started to, collect data and see on drive ratios what's driving this turbo to spool up without overspeeding, or get that feeling you're going to be driving through an exhaust brake, or the flip side, like you say, where vanes are too open, it's laggy, it's smoky. And so
seems like a fine line in there. At least from the data logs I've seen, it's like driving. It's a good way to put it. Driving through an exhaust brake.
Yeah.
Boost is 1 to 2, back pressure's 30, and the truck feels laggy. And then they add more vane. Well,
the truck to so vector. And then you're just blowing the seals out at that point.
Yeah, we see that all the time. Actually, there was a comment on Facebook that said anyone that says a tuner can blow up a turbo is an idiot. Do you guys, as
we
tuners,
can blow them up.
You can blow them up. Not that you guys do, but if someone didn't know what they're doing, it's very easy to blow up a turbo.
Yes.
And I feel like the 6.7s are a lot pickier than other platforms for some reason.
It's not necessarily the platform, it's the differences in the turbos. So for example, your turbos need a lot more vane position. Some other manufacturers, we have to pull that vane way back. Otherwise, it is that choking the turbo out with high back pressure and potentially minimal vane. So it's really a fine line with each turbo manufacturer.
So you can't just put a modified turbo file, one fits all, it'll work for every truck.
You could, but it won't drive the best. This is my second year coming down here, so we can develop the best tunes for you guys. That's why we have the KC specific turbo files now.
That was huge for us. You guys came out last year, spent, it was like 7 to 10 days, I don't remember, but you took trucks that were almost undrivable with someone else's tunes, and when we gave them back to the customers, they thought it was a different truck. It was unbelievable how big of a difference it made, and it seemed like you guys care. That's a weird thing to say. I feel like some tuners maybe made their money, they don't care, buy my tunes, or I've heard rumors that there are tuners out there that are like, buy my tunes or don't. I don't care. I'm so rich. Like, I'm going to fly my plane around the world and do whatever I want. But you guys you care. I mean, I've seen you guys do, for our customers specifically, dial in trucks, do revisions, look at data log. You guys are out here tuning trucks. I've heard you tuning other people's trucks. I hear other turbo builders that say AMDP is the only files that they will let them run on their turbos. I mean, that's a huge testament to how much you guys look into the data, write the tunes, and care about the customers.
We do, and we still want to develop new things. That's what drives us. We want to always develop new tuning, better tuning, and I mean, we nitpick over the littlest things sometimes, so that's why we're not necessarily the fastest at releasing tuning, because we want it the best possible that we can do. Obviously, the more trucks you put it on, the more data you're going to get back, which we love. So that's why we're always revising.
And you guys are known in the 6.7 world, but you just said you guys are releasing a lot of new stuff. You don't mean just for the 6.7. You said you're doing Cummins now, Duramax now. You said you bought a baby Max. Yeah,
the baby Duramax Escalade. So I'm excited to get working on that one as well.
That's cool. I mean, on my own personal trucks, when I ran your tunes, it just makes such a big difference. And you have a lot of variety too. A lot of people, you got folders and you can divide it between turbos and stroker pumps and different options. And you go to some tuners, they've got like 7 tunes, that's it. You guys have a wide plethora for a large amount of turbos, injector sizes, pumps, everything. You guys have a lot of time invested into that.
Yeah, and not all tunes are released to the customers. Like the bigger injector files and stuff like that, we don't necessarily release to everyone. If you do have that, then you're going to have to ask us for it, because otherwise we find people just start installing random tunes.
Oh, bigger injector file must be better, right?
Yeah, and then we have to provide the tech support on that going, well, you don't have those modifications. So.
Now, tech support, I know that you guys work mostly through dealers. You don't take any retail. Is that to do with tech support and customer service, and you don't want to take on too much, so you're having your dealers communicate a lot with customers? I mean, that's where you come in, right? You're a dealer of AMDP.
Yep, absolutely. And so it's a good break to, allow the core of AMDP to calibrate and work on these projects where a lot of these questions and tech support cases, a lot of the time they're basic for AMDP. But for the customer, of course, right, we understand that everybody of all levels is going to be working on these trucks and playing with tuning. And so dealers really should have a minimum level of support. They can ask, for the different type of switch on the fly switches, that's a common run, right? Some years of trucks will actually derate if you install the wrong file with the wrong switch. So,
that's a big one.
Yes.
And it's a very common mistake.
Right.
But that's why, like in our tune descriptions for, say, on EasyLink, we do have it in there. This has to be connected to the fuel temp sensor or the charge air sensor. So
now, you guys work with people all around the world. You guys are from Canada, but like, you guys ever gotten tune requests from like Europe or Australia? Or I mean, you guys tune all around the world. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Both from Canada, though. Yeah, I can hear it a little bit. What do you, decal? You really like, what's those things you stick on your truck? You call
decal.
them a decal.
That's right.
Here we call them decals.
Yeah,
I don't know which one's right. I know, it's kind of weird. It's a boot. Yeah. It's really
we don't say that.
Oh, you don't say that?
No.
Oh, sorry about that, eh?
Yeah, sorry, eh?
So, dealer of AMDP, you guys have lots of dealers, though, and you kind of try to be picky with your dealers.
We are selective with our dealers. As Geo was saying, you do have to provide a basic level of tech support for your customers. And that way, you guys have a good understanding of our product. And then at the end of the day, it just helps the customer get the best possible service.
Right. Yeah, you sign up a bunch of dealers that don't know what they're doing. All they're doing is basically slinging tunes out of their mom's basement. Second you have a problem, they're going to blame it on you, and they're going to cut communication. That becomes tough. So that's why you're selective with your dealers.
Yeah, and we do have a full tech support team, but as Geo was saying, we really want to focus on the calibrating and developing new stuff and revising our older stuff just to make it the best possible.
Yeah, I've noticed I sometimes see updates where you guys will go back and you don't just make a file, send it out there, and it's done forever. I've seen where you guys go back, do revisions, and update it. Yeah, I'd call you guys nerds, if that's okay.
Oh yeah,
it's a weird thing. Total nerds, right? I mean, you guys nerd out. I see you guys go on a test drive. You get out, you get these smiles on your faces. You're, look at this. Look what I found, and we can fix it. It's pretty cool.
It is.
And it's not just about the power or the spool up. A big thing that I hear people talk about is the transmission.
Yes,
it's key.
We have like our standard, our medium, our raised, and our high shift points.
Wait, could you say that one more time? It's a little confusing for me.
So standard, medium, raised, and high. Okay. That's kind of the order they go in on most vehicles. Some like on the Cummins and Duramax, we won't have quite that selection. But we find like with your guys' turbos, the high shift point file works the best. It keeps it in the spool range, maximizes your exhaust braking, bigger size tires. It's really helpful there as well.
So you guys have the different raised shift points. You have different like pressure files also.
We do, yeah. Yeah.
But so you guys make one specifically that just like bangs the crap out of the transmission and shift flares. That's
we don't go slash shift files. That's not our goal.
No. Some people, it seems like that might be their goal. We hear that a lot from a lot of files that their transmissions bang, and they're always told to do a tranny relearn or put a new valve body. But I don't know. I've had a few people switch from other tuners, and suddenly their transmission shifts firm but smooth, no bangs or flares. How do you guys accomplish that? You don't go too much into secrets, but how come your guys' files tend to shift so much better?
We just spend the time on it.
Dial it in.
A lot of driving.
Yeah, a lot of driving.
A lot of data logging.
We buy every year pack a truck. We put it through the ringer. We test in-house.
That was what was great about having you guys out here is we had one of basically every year, and you were able to test it with the KC turbos. You're able to get the shift points dialed in, the vane tables dialed in, the boost, the low boost fueling. Also, your turbos tend to run cleaner and spool faster than most of the other things we see on the market.
Keep it as clean as possible.
The LBF tables, some people just, do they zero those out? Or
some zero them out, some just drop them pretty low. We do offer LBF tuning for some guys, but we don't write smoke tunes. I want to make that one clear.
Why wouldn't you just zero out the tables? Is there an advantage to it?
You can get more bottom end out of it, but it's going to be smokier. It's going to cause your EGTs to climb faster. There's a lot of stuff in the control theory. We like to maximize all the control that we can out of it.
Yeah, I have found that it seems like if you throw too much at it, it almost seems like it slows the turbo down. Like it doesn't seem to run as good.
Some turbos, yeah.
It's like it smothers them out.
Yeah.
It can, yeah. But then too, on your part, I mean, it's coking up the veins.
Yeah.
So then potentially down the road, we're going to have sticky issues.
Yeah, you get too much soot in there on that exhaust side. It does start to make the veins a little sticky.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, people might be asking what these are. When I saw these, I thought you brought us like tequila or something, but you brought some maple syrup, right?
Little taste of home.
Taste of home for us. I was actually talking to a buddy this morning, Canadian buddy, lives down the street, and he was like, "Really? He brought you maple syrup? Really living up to the stereotype there."
Well, we're just that nice, okay?
Yeah. Well, it's been great having you guys out here. We love your guys' files. Anyone that's from Canada wants to hit you guys up, or from all around the world. But where can they reach out to AMDP? What's the best way to learn about you guys?
Best way is just our sales email. And then to order our tuning, you're going to have to go through one of our dealers, such as Extreme Caliber.
And how do people find you? Are you from BC area?
We're in BC on Vancouver Island. A large portion of our communication is through Facebook, through social media, or our direct line to Extreme Caliber, and through email as well. extremecaliber@outlook.com.
You guys do any like YouTubes or any Facebooks or anything like that?
We don't, no.
No?
Like we advertise a little bit on social media, but we just, like I said, we want to focus on the calibrating.
We really appreciate having you guys out here. It's been great having you here, learning a lot from you. Your guys' tunes are amazing. Your guys' service is amazing. Overall, we really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. We really enjoyed being out here.
Make sure to post up in the comments if you guys have any questions for these guys. They might hop in there, answer a few questions. Maybe we'll have them out again next time. If you have any questions for us, make sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe.